Shri Gurubhyo Namaha children, I welcome you all to our online English class. In today's class, we are going to be continuing the lesson, The Necklace from Your Footprints Without Feet book children. So in the last class, we had seen Matilda, she was invited to a party from her husband in her office, okay, in his office. And this girl, she was worried she didn't have a gown, and she was also worried that she didn't have a necklace or something to adorn herself with. So she was given money so that she would buy a new dress, and for the jewel she borrowed it from her friend, and she had attended the party, which was a very great success, and this girl was very happy. Let us continue the lesson and find out what is happening, children. She went home towards 4 o'clock in the morning. Her husband had been half asleep in one of the little salons since midnight, with 3 other gentlemen whose wives were enjoying themselves very much. So the party ended at 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, they had been continuously partying, and the husband, okay, he was exhausted, we believe, so he was resting in a salon with other 3 men, okay, whose wives were enjoying the party. He threw around her shoulders the modest wraps they had carried, whose poverty clashed with the elegance of the ball costume. So this girl's costume was matched according to the occasion, and she was also wearing a jewel which was very elegant and very luxurious. Okay, and this man had bought a wrap. Okay, it is a cold place, so they have to wrap in early morning. They cannot keep walking around with the same dress. So he bought a overcoat or a wrap, which was very modest, which was not very rich. Okay, and that wrap was contrasting. It was clashing means what? It was contrasting. The dress which she wore was too costly, and the wrap was a very kind of less amount. Okay, you can understand how odd it would be, okay, to top a very grand dress with a very modest wrap. She wished to hurry away in order not to be noticed by the other women who were wrapping themselves in rich furs. So she didn't want to stay in that place. Why? Because other women, they were wrapping themselves with rich, okay, wraps which were made up of fur. Okay, this girl had only a cloth wrap. She didn't want to stay there in the place, so she hurried away from the place. Loisel detained her. "Wait," said he, "I am going to call a cab." But she would not listen and descended the steps rapidly. Loisel detained her. Detained her means what? He made her stop. He wanted her to wait. He didn't want her to leave. Detain means make her put in the place. "I am going to call a cab." So he said that let's not walk away from this place. I'll call a cab. You wait until the cab arrives. But this girl was not willing to stay in that place. She descended rapidly. She ran away from that place. When they were in the street, they found no carriage, and they began to seek for one, hailing the coachman whom they saw at a distance. When they came to the street, there was no carriage. It was late, okay, for anybody to be there. Okay, there was no carriage, so they were searching. They were walking on the street in search of a cab, and they began to seek. Seek means search. They began to seek means they began to search for a cab, hailing the coachman who they saw at a distance. Hailing the coachman means what? They were calling, they were showing signals so that the coachman would see them. Okay. They walked along toward the river, hopeless and shivering. Finally, they found one of those old carriages that one sees in Paris after nightfall. So they didn't have any cabs at all available. Carriages were not found to be on the street. So they were walking literally on the street in the cold night. And after some distance, after traveling for some distance, they found one old cab. Okay. It took them as far as their door, and they went wearily up to their apartment. It was all over for her, and on his part, he remembered that he would have to be at the office by 10 o'clock. So they went late home wearily. Wearily means what? They were very tired and very exhausted. They were tired because they had stayed awake all night. They were tired and exhausted, so they went home very tired. And for that girl, okay, her lifetime ambition was over. She wanted to have a rich and luxurious lifestyle, and she had also experienced that, being along with rich people, being asked for, and all these things had taken place. That is all. Her lifetime wish has been satisfied. For this one, he had to resume back to his work. Tomorrow he had office by 10 o'clock. She removed the wraps from her shoulders before the glass for a final view of herself in her glory. So what she did, she went inside her room. So before removing all the dress and the jewel, all these things, she stood before the mirror so that she could see her one last time. She could just look at her beauty. Okay, she wanted to enjoy the beauty. Suddenly she uttered a cry. Her necklace was not around her neck. Loisel, already half undressed, asked, "What is the matter?" She turned towards him excitedly. I no longer have Madame Forestier's necklace. So this girl was standing before the mirror. She was admiring her beauty. Okay, and all of a sudden she gives a utter cry. She is uttering a cry, means what? She is shrieking. And when this Loisel comes and asks what's the matter with her, she is explaining that the necklace is not found around her neck. It is missing. He arose in dismay. What? How is that? It is not possible. And they looked in the folds of the dress. So he arose in dismay. He arose means what? He was shocked. In dismay means in confusion. He was shocked and confused. How is that possible? So long you had been wearing the jewel and all of a sudden you cry that it is missing. How is that possible? And they looked in the folds of the dress. So they checked the folds of the dress. Might be it would have slipped inside the dress. In folds of the cloak, in the pockets, everywhere. They could not find it. He asked, "You are sure you still had it when we left the minister's house?" "Yes, I felt it as we came out. But if you had lost it in the street, we should have heard it fall. It must be in the cab." So now both of them are discussing, okay, where it would have gone. And they checked all the folds of the dress, the cloak, the pockets, wherever, okay, in the dress they checked, it was not to be found. And this Loisel is also telling that if it had fallen down on the street, we would have heard the noise of falling down. So definitely it wouldn't have fallen on the street. It must have fallen down on the cab. So that is where we have to go and check. Yes, it is possible. Did you take the number? No. And you, did you notice what it was? No. They looked at each other utterly cast down. So now it is a cab. How to find out which cab? They must have noted some number of the cab. And Loisel is asking whether you have noted down. Both of them haven't noted down any number. We understand the time of their travel. They were traveling in the early morning and they were also very tired. So nobody expected this would happen. So they were not very cautious to note down the number of the cab, and no, both of them are utterly cast down. Cast down means what? They are put down. They are very depressed. They are sad and worried. Cast down means they are now worried. Why? Because they have lost somebody else's necklace, and that too it is a diamond necklace and it is very expensive also. Okay, they couldn't afford it. Finally, Loisel dressed himself again. "I am going," he said, "over the track where we went on foot to see if I can find it." So now Loisel is again dressing up and he is going on the streets to find out, okay, if it had fallen down. Okay, he is going in search of the necklace. And he went, she remained in her evening gown, not having the force to go to bed. Towards 7 o'clock, her husband returned. He had found nothing. He went to the police and to the cab offices and put an advertisement in the newspapers offering a reward. So he is coming back at 7 o'clock in the morning, empty handed. He hadn't found the necklace. So the next step, okay, to finding a solution of how to get back the necklace. So he is going to the police station and he is also going to the cab offices so that he could register a complaint that such thing is missing. He had also ordered for an advertisement to be put on the newspaper such that, okay, if somebody finds it, they would come and return it back. She waited all day in a state of bewilderment before this frightful disaster. Loisel returned in the evening, his face pale. He had discovered nothing. He said, "Write your friend that you have broken the clasp of the necklace and that you will have it repaired. That will give us time." She wrote as he dictated. At the end of the week, they had lost all hope. And Loisel, older by 5 years, declared, "We must replace this jewel." Okay, they both are waiting. Okay, now that the next step is taken and they both are waiting patiently so that they could get something back. Somebody would call them in favor. But it took evening, no call had come. Loisel was also not very happy that he hadn't received, okay, any indication from the post office or from the police, nothing. So both of them are utterly worried that they haven't received any update regarding the lost jewel. So what he is saying as a next resort, okay, he is asking, since we don't have time, you write a letter. He is advising his wife to write a letter to her friend, asking her time, stating the reason that she has broken the clasp. Clasp is a hook part, okay, where it attaches to the necklace. So she has broken the clasp part of the necklace and she would repair it and she would give it back in a week's time. So he thought that this would fetch them some time, okay, to search or for somebody else to search and bring. And this girl is also doing, Matilda is also doing as the husband is said. And at the end of the week, they are waiting for a week and no improvement, no update. The lost jewel is still lost. So now what? The next resort. We cannot keep waiting for long, okay, it is somebody else's jewel. We are responsible. So what he is doing? He is thinking of the next solution. He is telling that we have to replace the jewel. Since it is not found back, we have to buy one more necklace and give it back to Madame Forestier. In a shop of the Palais Royal, they found a chaplet of diamonds which seemed to them exactly like the one they had lost. So now they both are going on a shopping for the necklace and they find the chaplet of diamonds. Chaplet of diamonds is a string of diamonds. Chaplet means it is a string of diamonds which is a necklace, okay. It was valued at 40,000 francs. They could get it for 36,000. Loisel possessed 18,000 francs which his father had left him. Now when they went and inquired for they had found the same necklace. When they inquired the amount, they said it costs around 40,000 francs. Okay, and after bargaining, they had accepted to give the same necklace for 36,000 francs. And of 36,000, Loisel already had 18,000 as inheritance from his father. His father had given him 18,000 francs. So for the remaining 18,000 francs, he has to make up. He borrowed the rest. He made ruinous promises, took money from the usurers and the whole race of lenders. Then he went to get the new necklace, depositing the merchant's counter 36,000 francs. So for the remaining 18,000, I told you he had borrowed the money. And usurers means money lenders. Okay, they take this amount. Money lenders are called as usurers. Okay, if you are going to get some money as debt, you have to pay some extra amount in return. Okay, that is the usurers. And he went to all money lenders, he borrowed from the scratch, he borrowed money from various sources. He collected 36,000 and he paid. When Madame Loisel took back the jewel to Madame Forestier, the latter said to her in a frigid tone, "You should have returned them to me sooner, for I might have needed them." So it has taken a week's time, they are late in returning the jewel back. So when she went and returned it to Madame Forestier, she was not happy. She said in a frigid tone. In a frigid tone means what? In a very rigid, not being very rude also. but telling very sharply that she should have returned it on time, because she would have also needed the necklace. Madame Forestier did not open the jewel box as Madame Loisel feared she would. What would she think if she could perceive the substitution? What should she say? Would she take her for a robber? Madame Loisel now knew the horrible life of necessity. So this girl, okay, Madame Matilda, she was worried inside. She has replaced the jewel, okay, but she was afraid. What if Madame Forestier finds it out? What if she comes to understand that this is not the jewel which she gave, this is a substitution? Okay, what would she say? She would think that they have robbed the jewel. What could she perceive about us? So this was the reason that was going inside Matilda's mind that made her to worry. She did her part, however, completely heroically. It was necessary to pay this frightful debt. She would pay it. They sent away the maid, they changed their lodgings, they rented some rooms in an attic. So they have to pay the price. Okay, they had got money from the money lenders for which they are paying the interest. Okay, and it is too much money for a person from such a social economic status. Okay, so they had to pay the price and to accommodate themselves. Okay, in order to repay all the debts, so they had left their comfortable house. They went and they accommodated themselves in a room in an attic, and they had sent away the maids. So whatever they could do to cut down the cost, okay, they did everything. She learned the odious work of a kitchen. Odious work is a difficult work. Odious means difficult work of the kitchen. She washed the dishes, she washed the soiled linen, their clothes and dishcloths which she hung on the line to dry. She took down the refuse to the street each morning and brought up the water, stopping at each landing to catch her breath. Now comes the life of the poor. Now she was living not a sophisticated life, not a poor life. She was well accommodated. Okay, whatever she had, she was living a good life. But now she has to get down another step and live the poor life now. Okay, now how is her condition? She had to wash the clothes, she had to cook everything, wash dishes, wash all the cloths, and she also had to collect water. Okay, the water was not running through the pipes or through the taps. She had to go down the street, she had to fetch the pail of water. And clothed like a woman of a people, she went to the grocer's and the butcher's and the fruiterer's with her basket in her arm, shopping, haggling to the last sou of her miserable money. So now she had to go and she had to manage money, and she was given only a little amount of money with which she had to manage the family. So she would haggling. Haggling means what? She would bargain. Bargain, and even a pice, okay, she didn't want to waste. Haggling means what? Using until the last point, that is called as haggling. So she bargained and every pice counted for her. So she was very careful in handling the money. Every sou means what? Every pice of the money. Miserable money, why they call it here the miserable money? Because it is a hard earned money. They cannot afford to waste any money now. Okay, every sou was important. The husband worked evenings putting the books of some merchants in order, and nights he often did copying at 5 sous a page, and this life lasted for 10 years. At the end of 10 years they had restored all. So this man was also made to do some extra works. Okay, he arranged the books for the merchants. So that gave him some amount of money. So he did all the scratch works, whatever job which came his way, he did, so that every pice he earns will be counted. So this was the life for him, and they experienced this life continuously for 10 years, and only after 10 years they had restored back to the normal life. Madame Loisel seemed old now. She had become a strong, hard woman and the crude woman of the poor household. Her hair badly dressed, Her skirts awry, hands red, she spoke in a loud tone and washed the floors with large pails of water. And by the time, the lapse of 10 years, the change in Matilda was huge. She had become very old. She looked old. She didn't become 10 years, she would obviously become old, but her look was making her even more old. Okay, she was worn. Okay, you understand how much of hard work she would have put. She wouldn't have had time to dress up herself or groom herself. No grooming and all. Surviving only was taking place. There was no living, no grooming, nothing. She was only surviving. So everything changed. Her outlook changed. Her appearance changed. The way of dressing changed. And she spoke in loud tone like a very normal household poor woman. Okay, they shout and speak. So she became like that. But sometimes when her husband was at the office, she would seat herself before the window and think of that evening party of former times, of that ball where she was so beautiful and so flattered. So whenever the husband came back late, when she had no work to do, what she would do? She would go and sit by the window and she would lose herself in the thoughts of the ball. She would recollect, okay, how beautiful she was, how everybody was flattered seeing her appearance, how beautiful were those days. How would it have been if she had not lost the necklace? Who knows how singular is life and how full of changes, how a small thing will ruin or save one. So now she has understood, okay, even a small change, okay, she was expecting something which was not in her limits at all. Okay, she wanted a very luxurious life, an elegant life which was out of her reach. In the greediness, in the pursuit of making herself look rich, she had lost the jewel, and she had also lost her life, the 10 years of life. If she hadn't lost, just imagine, she would have saved up some money, she would have come to the next level of the economical status. This wouldn't have happened. I don't know whether she would have become rich or not. At least this kind of poor life wouldn't have affected her this bad. One Sunday, as she was taking a walk in the Champs-Elysees to rid herself of the cares of the week, she suddenly perceived a woman walking with a child. So one day what happened? In order to take a break, so she went along went for a walk along the road, wherein she sees a woman with a child. She perceived a woman means what? She is seeing, okay, like somebody, a known figure is coming. It was Madame Forestier, still young, still pretty, still attractive. Madame Loisel was affected. Should she speak to her? Yes, certainly, and now that she had paid, she would tell her all. Why not? She approached her. Good morning, Jane. Her friend did not recognize her and was astonished to be so familiarly addressed by the common personage. So she was thinking, all these thoughts was going. She saw, okay, she has perceived, she has understood that somebody known to her is coming and that it was Madame Forestier. She was just thinking in her mind whether to go and speak to her, whether to tell her the truth, and she was also worried, okay, she was set back, why to go and speak, because everything has changed. But she decides that she would go and speak, and she is not afraid anymore because they have repaid everything, there is nothing to worry about. So she thought this is the time, and she goes and meets Madame Forestier, and she is addressing her as Jane. Jane is a name, and so far we had been seeing Madame Forestier, but her name is Jane, which they use among the close friends. And this Forestier was astonished to see somebody calling her Jane, okay, which is known only by a close circle. How is this common girl, somebody who is very strange, coming and calling me Jane? She stammered, but madam, I don't know, you must be mistaken. No, I am Matilda Loisel. Her friend uttered a cry of astonishment. Oh, my poor Matilda, how have you changed? So this girl is telling, I think you have come and addressed a wrong person because I don't know you. And this girl is telling, no, I am Matilda. And Forestier was astonished, how poor you have become. why your appearance have changed, why there is so much of change in you, while this forester is still looking young, still attractive and still beautiful, and this girl has drastically changed. Okay, she was not even able to be recognized by her friend. So forester was astonished. What happened to you? Yes, I have had some hard days since I saw you, and some miserable ones, and all because of you. Because of me? How is that? You recall the diamond necklace that you loaned me to wear to the minister's ball? Yes, very well. Well, I lost it. How is that, since you returned it to me? I returned another to you exactly like it, and it has taken us 10 years to pay for it. You can understand that it was not easy for us who have nothing. So this girl, Matilda, she is explaining, I am like this because of you. And forester is astonished. How is that I have affected your life, and why is that you claim me responsible for your condition? Only then she is revealing the truth. She is telling that, and you gave me a diamond necklace for the ball, and I have lost it, and the necklace which I gave you was a replacement, and it took 10 years for us to repay that money back, because we are very poor, and it took 10 years of our life to repay that money. But it is finished and I am decently content. Madam Forestier stopped. She said, you said that you bought a diamond necklace to replace mine? Yes, you did not perceive it then. They were just alike. And she smiled with a proud and simple joy. Madam Forestier was touched and took both her hands as she replied, oh my poor Matilda, mine were false. They were not worth over 500 francs. So this Madam Forestier was now shocked. What, it took 10 years for you to replace, and it looked so alike that I was not able to find out the difference. And only then she felt sad and sorry for this Matilda. She took her arms and she is explaining, Forestier is explaining Matilda that it was a false diamond necklace. It was not a real diamond, okay, and it costed only 500 francs. So without knowing the truth, this Matilda had lost 10 years of her life. She had paid interest, she had left all her comfort, she had come out of the comfort zone, she had lived a life of a very common woman, and 10 years of her time is lost. So I hope you understood the lesson, children. We will continue all in another session, and before closing, please do subscribe our online YouTube channel for more updates. See you, children.